If you had a musical Mount Rushmore, who would be the faces carved into the stone?
Oh, that's a different question.
Yeah.
I've never been asked anything like that before. All right, well, okay, we have to put Hendrix on there. We'd have to put Wes Montgomery on there.
Yeah.
We would have to put Billie Holiday on there. We'd have to put John Bonham. How many are there? 5?
Generally 5. Yeah.
So I said John Bonham, and oh fuck, so that's 4, right? Oh shit, who would be that 5th one? I would have to say BB King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Where's your source for the history of rock and roll, or did you? I suppose you lived a fair bit of it.
To me, how it worked is there's a line that runs between Jerry Lee Lewis,
Yep.
who I love, into Jim Morrison.
Do you like Jim Morrison?
Oh, I love the Doors. I absolutely love the Doors.
Really?
Yeah. Absolutely. It goes from Jerry Lee Lewis to Jim Morrison to Iggy Pop. Without those two, Iggy Pop doesn't exist. Into Johnny Rotten. Yeah. And we're looking for the next one. It hasn't happened yet.
If you had a musical Mount Rushmore, who would be on it? Who would the faces that you'd have carved into the stone?
Oh, interesting. Steve Martin.
Not Bill Hicks? Come on.
Well,
Carry on.
he needed some work. Poor bastard. Steve Martin, Joni Mitchell. Let's see. Nina Simone, obviously.
Actually, elaborate there.
Huh?
Why Nina Simone? Tell us more.
She's just the cornerstone of like pure emotion and technical singing and piano ability, but like balancing it with what would anybody that was that emotional generally is a basket case, and she was able to like really focus that energy technically and for their execution. So yeah, absolutely, Nina Simone.
And fearless. And what she did in terms of pushing the issues that matter to her as well.
Absolutely.
Like
so
provocateur.
Full, absolutely. And I would reserve my 4th for another conversation because I don't know.
So it's just a big lump.
No, it'll be clay. We'll call it clay.
You're a big clay guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
That's okay. You can come
Those
back.
are my 3. Maybe
You
Ahmad
can just make
Jamal.
them really big.
But
what?
Not a lot of people know Ahmad Jamal, so that might be a weird one for them to have to figure that out.
But Tool fans would make a pilgrimage, and they'd learn. You might actually educate them.
Yeah, every time I release something, there's those people like frantically Googling definitions.
Yeah, what's that like?
It's entertaining.
Who's your musical Mount Rushmore? Who would be the 5 faces carved into the side of the rock?
David Bowie, Peter Gabriel, Stevie Wonder, and Randy Rhoads.
That'd be a really fun thing to carve. How good is it? I think David
you
Bowie.
Were good at carving.
Yeah, like the last David Bowie album is like the best way to leave.
Oh my god!
Anyone could have left. It's just that
could have ever did.
Who has left the planet with more grace and more mystery and more just like it's so sad and no one knew anything and.
I know, and that record came out, and I listened to it the morning it came out. I was like, "Ooh, new David Bowie," and I'm listening to it. I'm like, maybe, like, I'll get to see him finally because he's definitely going to do a tour. This is a big. This is good stuff. And then like, wow.
I went to see.
But yeah, and then you said to yourself when he had passed, and then I was, God damn it, that's the most David Bowie thing you could do.
If you had a musical Mount Rushmore, who would be carved into the side of it?
So what are there 5 faces on
Mount
Rushmore?
5 faces. Yeah.
You got to put Lemmy.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
To me, you got to put Joe Strummer.
Yep.
Okay, Billy Gibbons.
Yep. ZZ Top, like this is a pretty significant moment. You know, this is, you know, of the end, you know, it's the guys. What was ZZ Top? What did you discovering ZZ Top? What was that like for you?
Oh my God, the first time I heard their first record, I couldn't believe that was 3 people making that wall of sound. And, you know, just, and then to actually get to meet him and know him as a kind, funny as hell human being and work with him on a bunch of different stuff. Just what a human being. So yeah, a highlight of my life. But so that's 3. You got to put Robin Trower in there for me.
Yep.
And that's a hard call over Hendrix, but I got to go with Trower.
Yep.
And then the 5th spot, this is going to be a little bit off the wall, and not a lot of people might know it, but I got to go with Colin Newman.
Yeah, right. Okay, tell us about him.
My Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
It'd be a toss-up between Jazz Coleman and Colin Newman and Howard Devoto.
Yeah.
Any one of 3 would be like my 5th Mount Rushmore thing.
Why?
I just, their music spoke to me on a different level than say ZZ Top's level,
Yep.
or even Trower's or Pink Floyd or whatever. It was a gut punch to hear Magazine, Killing Joke, Wire, and especially Colin Newman's solo stuff. It just spoke to me in a way that felt like so familiar. It felt like hand in glove, like, okay, yes, this is how I envision music in my mind. It's like these people, the other people you tried to aspire to be, the people I just mentioned, I was like, I am that. I'm that person. Yes, I get it, you know, so
that's your fan experience. It's actually feeling kinship.
oh yeah, well, especially for the last 3 that I just mentioned, just like I hadn't even met them yet, but the second I heard their early stuff, I was just like, yes, that's exact. Those are the same dreams that I have. You know, you get music in your dreams, and then you wake up. Sometimes you try and like, I tried to like, you know, do a voice memo in the middle of the night, like hum something that's coming into your dreams while you sleep, and you can never make heads or tails of it the next morning when you wake up. It just sounds like somebody having like an aneurysm in the middle of it. But you know what I mean? Of just like you get these ideas from you don't know where. It's like it's like you have transmitters and the universe is producing all this stuff, and every so often you catch something from somewhere and you don't know why, but like I could tell that they had like the same radio station in their brain.
Yeah.
The last one I mentioned. Whereas the other ones I mentioned where I was a little younger then. See, these are more like contemporary in age, and the younger ones are just like, how do they do that? This is amazing, you know, and I want to be like them. Whereas the other Hall of Fame guys for me are just like, no, I am them. This is great. There's other people like me. It makes you feel good. What
is your musical Mount Rushmore? Who are the faces on it?
Oh dear me! Just off the top of my head, because you don't hold me to this, I reserve the right to change this another time.
Yes.
I'm going to go Jimmy Page, Joe Strummer, Bob Marley.
Okay, Bob Marley, real quick. Have you ever hung out with the Marleys? Have you ever had like a Kumbaya sing along with the Marleys?
I did a song with Damien on this.
Yeah, of course you did. But did you guys used to hang? Have you guys hung out with
Ziggy's a dad? Our kids are classmates at school.
I had this real feeling you guys have spent some time with the Marleys.
I love all the Marleys are so funny. I remember we've jammed together a bunch of times. Like I'll go to like the show, but it's really funny because like there's a you know, there's a smoking culture and there's a different stuff which I'm not sort of a part of. Yeah. So I always show up and I'm like, hey guys, how's it going? And plug in my guitar and like everybody's like, hi, a lot of smoking. When it comes time, like I play the guitar solo, everybody goes like, oh.
If you were to have a musical Mount Rushmore, what would be the 5 faces carved in the side of it? I know I need to do that, but I did.
Sorry, whenever I think of Mount Rushmore, I'm just like, fuck that place. But
I know what you mean. It's a terrible.
No. I know
these are the true presidents.
Maybe I'll just think about like 5 posters on the wall or something.
That's better. Yeah. I'd never thought about
Yeah.
that. There is actually some problems with that. There's actually some significant problems. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like an exploded Buddhist temple. Let's not. Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, probably Tricky. You know, I hold him on a pedestal.
Wow. I wouldn't have picked that. It's interesting. Yeah. Like lyrically, like the whole thing.
I think the whole thing, just like the mood. I think in high school, like I said, I was listening to Tricky a lot and just really connected to like that moodiness and that like sexiness that was also dark, you know, not like obvious sexiness or something. I really like that.
It sort of beckons you in.
Oh, sorry. I was
sorry.
It does
sort of beckons you in a bit. Like, hey.
Yeah, it's like entrancing. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. And then I would put Townes Van Sant up there. Ozzy Osborne is like my favorite. I love him. Who else?
Could be a fun thing to carve, really. I would so pay homage to it. Like I'd visit. It could be a pilgrimage, like Bollywood. Chelsea would be great. I would go there.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Anyway,
so
sorry.
weird.
Back to the question. Yes.
It'd be a weird and dark place.
I know it'd be amazing. I was saying this to Buzz Osborne last week. You should all have the theme park, and I would go. It'd be great.
I love that.
It'd be different. Like you know, I love Dolly Parton a lot. If you don't like Dolly Parton, there's something wrong with you, really. Like even if you're not into her music, she's a conceptual everything.
She's so wonderful. Like I can't believe she's real sometimes. She's just
she's
wonderful.
80 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you got two more.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of like old country, maybe I would put like Loretta Lynn or Johnny Cash up there. Or Joni Mitchell.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting into a lot of names now.
Yeah.
But
they're good names.
Yeah.
Like
I think that's 5.
If you had a musical Mount Rushmore, what faces would be carved into the stone?
Probably would be, I mean, you know, in at my studio, the Black Vatican.
Yeah.
You know, pretty much looks like my 14-year-old bedroom, except now they're all in frames. You know, I mean, I have like giant pictures of them, like, but they're all framed as opposed to taped to the wall.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's all the guys that inspired me and everything like that. So I mean, it would be, you know, obviously St. Rhodes, Randy Rhodes. You got, you know, Jimmy Page, Tony Iommi, Frank Marino, Al Di Meola, John McLaughlin. I love Robin Trower.
Al from Ministry said Robin Trower he's like, no one gives him enough credit.
Yeah, but I mean, with the musicians all love him. I mean, but I mean, as far as I know, he's saying it's commercially successful as other artists, but I mean, but yeah, and Robin Trower still sounds amazing today as he did back in 1974. You know what I mean? So, and now he's singing too. So he has. I mean, I think his records are just as phenomenal as when James Newell was singing. So I mean, yeah, it's just I would say all those artists. You know, obviously I love Elton John, I love Neil Young, but I also love, you know, like new wave stuff. I mean, I listen to everything. Yacht rock. I mean, I love Crowded House. I love yacht rock. I love, you know, Ambrosia, all that stuff. Yes. So, you know, 10cc, and I love all that stuff.
We'll go in eras, I guess. Here we'll say Minor Threat being number 1 as a young boy, young girl. Then we go with Hatebreed.
Yep. Just
because why not? Hatebreed. There's others, but Hatebreed's the one for now. Hardcore era. And we're gonna go with Alice in Chains on number 3.
Excellent.
Metal era.
That's a solid thing. Okay, and like
that's a steps and process that makes sense.
That's the whole thing. I mean, dude, that's a pretty good cross section. I'd like to get them in a room and to make something. I think getting Hatebreed, Alice in Chains, and Minor Threat.
You can throw Bruce Springsteen in there or something more.
I mean, that's
other spectrum.
So that's the super group that we've developed. It's Reba's life-changing super group.
Bruce.
I don't know what else. So you're a Bruce Springsteen guy. That's pretty great. Okay, no, the rest of this is a farce.
See, I've always thought he was cool, but then in my current, like, recent last 2 years, I've just something about his personality. I was like, holy shit! And then I went back and listened again to everything, and it was like it just all clicked.
Really?
And again, the timing, it's like I was way too angry and like pissed off before to really appreciate it for what it was. But now I just can't just have a new love, you know?
What would be your musical Mount Rushmore? Like if we were to have the Brann and Boyd Mount Rushmore, 4 faces carved into the stone, who would they? And also, we're 16 shows in. I want to go to all of them. I want us to build these. I want to visit. Fans will make the pilgrimage. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so down for it.
Yeah.
That's a good question. And I know I'm probably going to think of 10 more people. I'm not the type of person that has like a favorite singer or a favorite painter or writer. I'm kind of like, it's like a list, but the first that are coming to mind, like you have to have Hendrix up there. Like Jimi Hendrix has to be in that Rushmore. I would also put probably Jeff Buckley in there.
Grace, like forever. Grace forever. Like, did you guys ever hang out?
I never met Jeff, no, unfortunately. Cool. I would have loved to. Yeah. Oh God. I suppose I would put I'd put Patti Smith in there, maybe PJ Harvey. The
Queens
I
of
might
Rock
even.
and Roll.
What's that?
The Queens of Rock and Roll. You just named them.
Right.
Who is more rock and roll than PJ Harvey? It's that understated, no effort. It's like when you try and learn a PJ Harvey song, you're like, no, actually tried less hard. You have to try underhand hard because she doesn't try hard at all. It's like effortless.
Yeah, she's incredible. I've seen her play a bunch of times too, and she blows me away.
Yeah.
There's somebody who his voice has been confounding me since I was a teenager. And if your listeners haven't heard him and they're interested in people like Jeff Buckley or interested in singers like Serge Tankian or myself, like you have to put Nusret Fateh Ali Khan in that Mount Rushmore. Nusret Fateh Ali Khan. So he is a Pakistani devotional singer, a Qawwali singer, it's called, the style of music. But he basically was singing songs to God, and he would sing with an accompaniment of other men, and they're all sitting down on the floor, and his voice was, you can't believe it. You don't even have to like Qawwali music or Eastern sounding music at all, and you would still marvel at this person's talents. I put him up there too.
Who would be on your musical Mount Rushmore?
How many heads are on Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, I think
4?
5.
5?
Well, you can have 4 if you want. I'm kind of pushing it.
I should know. I should know this. I should know.
I mean, you should probably know it better than me, really.
I should, exactly. I feel embarrassed that I asked that question. You know, for me, Peter Gabriel would be up there.
Yeah,
for
right.
sure. Yeah, one of my favorite artists of all time. It would probably be Stevie Ray Vaughan, one of my favorite guitar players of all time. You know, probably James Hetfield, because I think to me, when I heard Metallica, it kind of like, I knew, even though I was playing prog, I knew what like the sound I wanted. I was just like in love with that sound of metal. The Sound of Metal is a movie, right?
Yeah, it is. And Metallica what was it like, Metallica breaking in that world and at that time? Because there were you had a really, really huge live music scene. I remember I watched the thing with the guy from Public Enemy talking about how Anthrax would play to 3,000 people a weekend just at local shows, and we were like, far out, I want to be a part of that. Like,
oh yeah, it was intense, you know. And actually at the time, I had just gone to Berkeley with John Mayung. We were 17, 18 years old, and we met Mike Portnoy, as I said, and the Metallica Master of Puppets came out 80, I believe, the spring of 86. So that was like within our first year. We only went to Berkeley for 1 year and then we left. We were dropouts. So when I remember listening to that and just being like, oh my God, this is insane. And just being so influential. But yeah, that was that period of time. I was talking about this recently. Was talking about U2 and even that, and even Rush, and the time period from the early 80s through the early 90s, like that sort of 10-year span. And it was just such an unbelievable time for music from me. You know, I know there's certain time periods that people swear by in the 60s and 70s, and it's just so true. But that period from, you know, 80, 81 through 92, just an insane amount of music that was so influential.